I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact, focused on personal growth, my workbook series, The Knowledge, will help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
I'm Coach Margaret.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And today we're going to be talking about trust, no contact. Now, we know if you're going through a breakup and you're in no contact, it can be incredibly scary. And you're probably going back and forth in your mind on if it's the right thing for you, if it's going to really help you get your ex back, if it's really going to improve your chances. And, we understand that, I'm sure you have come across a lot of different information out there that says a lot of different things, and we're going to explain to you some of the reasons that you should stay in no contact, leave your ex alone, and allow them to come back to you to try and repair things.
Exactly. So if you're thinking about going into no contact, a lot of fears will creep up. Fears that you'll never hear from them again, fears that they'll forget about you, and fears that they'll move on. No contact can really seem like a daunting technique, a daunting solution for you, that you might not even want to try it because of all these fears.
Yeah, Margaret, I think one of the big things that we've seen over the years is people think that your ex is going to forget about you.
Absolutely, it's a huge fear. And we have to remind people very frequently that you can't be close with somebody for a period of time, be in a relationship with them, be intimate with them, and then wipe them out of your mind the next moment. However, we've also learned that people tend to withdraw before breaking up so that they appear cold and uncaring when they do it. And I think that's one of the things that sends an ex-partner into despair. Okay?
Margaret, maybe you could touch upon a little bit, why is it that some people really get scared that your ex will just forget about you? What is it that's going on with them that not everybody feels that fear?
Not everybody feels that fear as acutely, and of course it goes back to early childhood, as most things do. If you were a secure child, or a good enough secure child, then you will have less of a fear. But if you were often left with different caretakers, if you didn't see your regular caretaker, etc., then it feels like people have forgotten about you all your life.
And so if that's a situation you grew up in, right, you're going to unconsciously have this fear because you've been traumatized in the past that people just abandon you and they forget about you.
And certainly if you have an absent parent, it would certainly feel like people can forget about people they should love.
Yeah. So that's a huge reason that a lot of people struggle with that fear. Now, we know that you go online and you hear all kinds of different advice. Your friends and your family are going to be quick to give you advice.
Move on.
Move on. Forget about them. Don't try and fix it. It's not worth it. Then you're going to have people that are coaching you, trying to tell you ignore your ex, telling you all kinds of things. Sometimes they'll even say that people are going to forget about you.
Yeah.
Yes, they will.
You got to send them a handwritten letter or a good reminder text that will elicit these feelings to want you back. But I absolutely believe that the separation anxiety that they feel in no contact, in not hearing from you, is the most powerful way to have them come back and really reevaluate things. Margaret, do you agree with that?
Absolutely. I wasn't sure in the beginning, but I have come to absolutely believe it. And the part that works out the best for me is if someone asks you for space, the only respectful thing to do is give it to them.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Vicky, do you agree with that?
I also agree. You also have to think about the alternatives when thinking about no contact. If you contact them, that sends a message to them that you don't fully respect their decision. By ending the relationship, they are asking for space from you. And that is a very hard thing to accept when they are the very thing that you're longing after.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to think about what your actions tell them. It also is really popular in the media, what you see in romantic movies, how when a breakup happens, you see the ex fighting for the relationship. You see the classic boombox on the shoulder, these grand gestures to show your ex your love and to win them back. In reality, it's much more complex than that. So
it doesn't work.
Exactly.
It just
That's pretty straightforward.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
If we saw it work, we would tell you to do it.
Yeah. And so doing no contact is not only counterintuitive from your own feelings that you feel like you'll be forgotten, but it's almost counterintuitive to society as a whole and how we think about winning somebody's love back.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure people think we're crazy. We're going to call you because we miss somebody terribly, and you're going to tell us to stay in no contact. I know it sounds crazy, but it works.
And we see it work over and over again. Allowing that person to miss what you had and brought into their life is more powerful than trying to send them a reminder or basically beg or bribe or manipulate them. Because you brought a major thing into their life, a major connection, a major presence into somebody's life, and they won't forget that.
Yeah.
And, you know, many of you already did all of those things, right? You already wrote the handwritten letter. You already sent the good reminder text. And where did it get you? Right? So you could see that those things don't work. And you can see the comments from the people. So please share your experiences in that. That no contact allows people to reevaluate, to think about what you've had, to think about that, you know, the grass isn't greener or the other options aren't as great. Or sometimes they just need the space and the time to think about, you know, the things that were upsetting me really aren't that big of a deal. I was very upset about it at the time. And now that I think about it, I still maybe not like that or I'm upset about it, but not enough to let that person leave my life.
Yeah.
So those are all important things to understand while you're feeling terrible.
Yeah.
While every second of the day feels like an eternity. And everything inside of you, your brain is going to tell you, reconnect with them, reconnect with them. Margaret, talk about that unconscious.
Yeah, the unconscious wants the person back. Worse than that, the unconscious releases oxytocin to give you the warm, fuzzy energy to get them back. Isn't that a dirty trick on Mother Nature's part?
Yep.
Mother Nature wants us to get a partner back because she wants us to propagate. She only has one agenda. But just when you're trying to struggle with all this, you get a hormone that says you better get them back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not fair.
Yeah, I think this is a really good point because no contact does feel terrible. And that might be a part of why you're watching this video, that your own feelings are tricking you into wanting to contact your ex and reach out to them, and your feelings are tricking you to not stick to a plan that you have set out. So it can be really difficult to trust no contact when you're feeling miserable.
And when you have overwhelming anxiety, it always feels like even a brief contact with them will fix it, which it probably will, but it won't work either.
Yeah.
Well, you might feel good in the moment if they reply to you, but then when it doesn't go anywhere, or they get mean, or start really setting those boundaries and start saying things like, don't contact me again, now you just feel 10 times worse.
Yeah. And no contact really is a big decision. For many of you, no contact might feel like giving up. It might feel like, okay, I'm moving into this different territory that I'm not used to, where I'm going to actively try to not speak with my ex. And it's really about shifting your focus from your ex to yourself and to what you can do. People might look at no contact and say, oh, it's doing nothing. Really, it's not. And the way that we teach it is that you're actively working on yourself during this time. And I think that's probably the most important piece.
Right.
So the big question is still there. How do I know it's going to work for me, and how can I trust this?
Obviously, we can't guarantee it, nor would we say that we would guarantee it. You can trust that we're not going to tell you to do anything that we wouldn't do ourselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And so when we tell you this stuff, I'm telling you things that I did in the past and that I see that works in my coachings. I had a guy that did a coaching with me just a couple days ago that finally heard from his ex after 13 months and was showing some interest. Now, the problem with their situation is that they're long distance and she's avoidant. And so...
Oh, what a combination.
Yeah, so he's having some struggles there. We'll see how it goes. But after 13 months, he was shocked to hear that she had been secretly watching his stories and, seeing what was going on with him. But you see, and she even told him certain days, like their anniversary or his birthday, were a real struggle. And it was nice to hear, because it's always great to hear when somebody fesses up to the struggles they've been through.
Yeah.
But attachment is incredibly powerful. I don't think there's anything more powerful than love.
I don't think so either.
And when you find somebody that you love and you can trust and you can count on and they're there for you, and you find, have this bond with that person, that doesn't go away. Sometimes you can do a lot of damage. Every situation is so different. Maybe you've been neglectful or abusive or the relationship was toxic. Of course, those are going to impact things. But you probably had many, many special moments and dreams together and things you've shared. And that is hard to walk away from.
Yeah, I definitely think that attachment and that bond that you create with your partner goes really deep. And it is a big deal for them to walk away from that. And it's a process. And part of trusting no contact is trusting the process of how there are times where it's going to be difficult. In no contact, there will be times where you will be really tempted to reach out to them, where you're feeling very vulnerable and weak and feel like you have nowhere else to turn but to talk to them. So trust that this is going to be a part of a more meaningful ending.
Yeah, having that time and space to heal and to work through things, and for you to really reevaluate in no contact. So many of you just get stuck on the no contact videos and you ignore the videos that are showing you how to grow and giving you the techniques like how to communicate or, on love languages. We have hundreds of videos in the Be a Master in Relationships playlist. But so many of you guys get caught in no contact that you're not ready to show your ex you've really changed. And I hate when that happens because, we don't want you to be focused on the wrong thing in all that time. And that happens so often because if your ex's interest level drops, how many times do you see when somebody's their interest level drops and they look like they're never coming back, the person just gives up on the growth and on the changes.
We don't want that to happen to you.
So you have to focus on preparing yourself for the changes in that time and trust that your ex is going to go through a lot of different feelings and stages, and maybe they'll be elated at first, and then maybe they'll be depressed, and then maybe they'll be confused, and then maybe they're scared. And so they're going to go through a lot of different things, but you want to stay laser focused on the growth. What mistakes did you make? What can you do differently? What is it that you're looking for? Is this relationship healthy? Can it be healthy? So many different questions you want to ask yourself while trusting the process and allowing the person to do what they need to do. And hopefully you'll have a chance to do it again together in the future.
And I just want to applaud the discussion of process. People have forgotten about process. We live in a world of instant. Okay, things happen quickly. But there are processes, and the process here is really, to some extent, a grief process. And you don't do grief in a week. Grief takes time. So I'm very happy to hear people mention process and trusting the process. Do it.
And one last major thing that I want to add in here. When you eventually do hear from your ex, you have got to stay in emotional self-control. A lot of people ruin their chance with getting their ex back because they lose emotional self-control. That's why I find a lot of the studies out there about what are the percentages of getting your ex back to be nonsense, right? Because what they aren't measuring is what do they do in that time to improve their knowledge, improve their social skills, improve being a better partner, and how are they acting when they come back? Because I know if I'm in the opportunity of having my ex come back, I know the chances of me turning it around are a million times higher than people that don't know what they're doing.
Right.
So the more you figure out the issues that we're always trying to educate you guys on with mental health and attachment and communication skills, and the more you improve in those areas, and the better you can stay centered when you do hear from your ex again, the more likely you're going to turn it around and have a healthy relationship, which is, of course, what we want.
Yeah, exactly. The only thing worse than a breakup is 2 breakups or 3 breakups.
Good point. How practical.
Yeah.
So I really believe that if you kind of act as if the person is coming back and you just trust the process and you work on yourself in that time, that you're going to be a lot more likely to be prepared and ready when they do come back.
Yeah, very well said.
Yeah, so stay motivated, okay? And if they don't come back, look at the growth, look at the changes, and whoever you date in the future is going to be blown away by who you are.
Yeah. A lot of people might stay focused on no contact being just for getting your ex back. No contact is for you.
Yeah.
I like that. No
Yeah.
contact is for you.
Yeah. And it is, and it will give you the better chance of getting an ex back too.
Yeah.
So, but ideally, we want you to do it for you. And I know what it's like to feel so desperate that you don't care about for me. I don't care if it's for me. I want to do it for them.
Yeah.
It's for both. But if you need to use that motivation at first, that's fine. Right? We just want you to stay motivated.
Whatever you can do to stay motivated, just do it. Whether it's for you, for them, for your mother, for us, whatever.
For the cat.
Yeah.
And of course, we're here to get coaching with. When you want to talk to us, all you have to do is sign up on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching. I do Skype. Margaret is available for Skype coaching.
If you feel that I can be helpful, please sign up.
And she's incredible, trust me. And of course, Coach Victoria will be here too.
I'll be here.
And she will be doing coaching in the future.
I'm looking forward to it.
But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
I'm Coach Margaret.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon. To get my help personally, go to askcraig.net and click on Schedule Coaching and choose the option that works best for you. I do email coaching or Skype. To schedule a coaching with Margaret, click on Margaret on the top of the page and order a Skype with her. For the Knowledge Creative Healing course, click on the link at the top of the page and click Get Started Now.